You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye, coming at you live with episode 53. I don't know, some might call it season 2. Who knows? We'll let you all decide down in the comments. Should we call this season 2, episode 53? Should we just go on forever and in perpetuity and come at you live from Hendersonville and Playas, Ecuador? And we're going to start off the same way we do every time and ask the man of the hour how he is down there right next to the sun and see what's happening. So, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing very well. This is season 2, episode 1. We can.
Yeah. What is it? S2E1. There we go. Yeah. Action. Yeah. That's it. So.
Yeah, it's SO2.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Episode 01.
I'm sorry, Director Darden. Producer Darden we'll take notes.
Well, you're the producer. It's producer Jay. Yeah, when you're looking at 50 something episodes, you got season 2, episode 50.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. We're doing good down here, man. It's going into our winter time down here. So today, I know you don't really care about weather reports. It never got above 80 degrees here today. So that was, and I don't mean cool. It was very cool.
That is my favorite thing in the world, where it didn't get above 80. We were really chilly. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm sweating my freaking balls off over here thinking, I'm doing my current home is keeping the keeping up the best it can with the AC blasted. Yeah, exactly. That's definitely what I need. I don't need a pool. I need one of those cryo machines where I can just or like a walk-in cooler, right, and just get it to about 50 degrees and stand in there if things get a little too warm. So.
Yeah, when you see the condensation coming out when you're talking, they'll know you've reached the optimum temperature.
Exactly. They say you can always put more clothes on, but you can't take them off. And if you do, they'll say, "Officer, the cuffs are hurting me." That's how that story ends. So.
Okay.
But alrighty. So okay, well, winter time down in. Right next to the equator there. We have a few things to talk about today, and one of which we've been kind of going back and forth about the supply chain stuff, trying to keep up with it, trying to see what's going on. We have some like insights to kind of how that's going, being as you used to be a trucker and I currently am in logistics to a degree, even though there are many who would not have it that way. I apologize for that. But there was something that I read that I sent to you earlier this week where this is going to be kind of like the Reddit hour or a bit of the Reddit show, where something that I found online that was kind of interesting. They say we have roughly an 85,000 trucker shortage, right? So we're just missing roughly just under 100,000 bodies to put into our trucks. And one of the reasons why we are seeing a dip in those numbers is because of certain regulations. And as we've talked about on here before in the past few episodes, talking about drugs and restrictions and things of that sort. Well, one of the things that they talk about or that I've seen around is that if you have a poor test or like a drug test that shows up where you are consuming CBD or THC, right, the chemical compounds that are within marijuana, they, one strike and you're out. It's over. And something that I read online, well, and that I'm sure we've all heard of, is if you take CBD oil for whatever reason that you take it, right? Whether it be for pain, whether it be for PTSD, whatever it is you might be consuming it for, and for whatever mutual benefits that it's having in your life, whatever it is, come to find out, it can, if you take enough of it, start to show up on certain drug tests as actually taking or consuming marijuana, right? Like smoking it, ingesting it, whatever, and finding those kind of THC particles in there, the stuff that gets you high, and they will bench your ass in a second. And so I'm thinking we've discussed drugs a little bit like to that degree, and amazingly enough, there's a lot of states now that are legalizing that sort of practice, and several states around Tennessee are kind of having that going. Much love to Illinois up there. It's a pretty fast trip there and back, but to look at it, if you're taking CBD oil and it shows up and you have a bad and you have a drug test that shows up positive, well, that's it. Your trucking career is basically over, right? And so we're taking players out of the game, essentially, the game that is working for a trucking company, or just being, as you used to eloquently put it, meat in a seat. And they're like, we're hurting ourselves by having those kinds of restrictions. Now, of course, we don't want folks who are going to, get lit and then drive a semi around. That's really not the goal here, right? We don't want folks to drive impaired. That is really not the point of this exercise. But having those kinds of restrictions will lead you to hurting the deficit there and making it grow, right? Where we say, hey, you guys have been consuming too much of this, too much CBD. It showed positive in a drug test, and then, sorry, that's it. We'll see you later. And then now you're just one more driver in the sea of drivers that we need to get or partially get things back on track. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of wild, because the number of violations by the FMCSA or SCA, which are the Federal Motor people who actually keep up with that sort of thing. There's about 80,000 counts of illegal or illicit activity when it comes to marijuana, and of course the interesting juxtaposition there is, well, you're about 85,000 drivers short. Well, ipso facto, if you didn't ding all those people, well, you wouldn't have nearly as many drivers missing. So, and I know some of those cases are legit, but for the ones that aren't, we just seem to be hurting ourselves.
That's correct. You're correct on all the above. There's no really shortage that exists. It's the poor working and living conditions that the drivers have to endure. I was very fortunate the last few years. I had a dedicated run from Gallatin, Tennessee to Dallas, Texas, and back. I left on Monday and spent Tuesday night in Dallas, and then came back to I left on Monday, spent Monday night in Dallas, came back Tuesday, went out Wednesday, spent Wednesday night, came back Thursday, and was off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because I don't hate. I had a 4-day week. But 10,000 drivers off the road just this year in the first quarter.
Oh, wow.
10,000 drivers. That's a 32.6% increase over last year, same time. But the hoops that you have to go through once you've tested positive for narcotics,
right?
The hoops you have to go through to get your job back, they're not worth it. They're not, and that's why they don't come back.
Yeah.
Once you catch me, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back, because the low pay and the stress, and the companies treat you like crap. And so, they're not short drivers. The drivers just ain't coming back to work because it's a crappy ass job, man. I mean, I made the best of it, but I was a restaurant manager for 25 years. So the first 5 or 6 years of driving a truck over the road, my boss is on the other end of the phone or computer. I thought I was in seventh heaven, because I didn't have anybody micromanaging and looking over my shoulder. But right now, you got 19 states have legalized it for recreational use, and 37 states have legalized it for medical use.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But it's a federal law. The FMSCA, that's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association, Federal FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association. That's who oversees that. It's all federal. So if the federal people, whatever the Secretary of Transportation's name is, the pregnant guy, Booty, get some booty jet. Booty jet. Yeah. Pete, get booty. Anyway, as long as they keep doing that kind of stuff, they're going to have a problem with the supply chain. And I worked with a container operation for 3 days. I went to work for a container operation in Nashville. This was off the rail yards.
Some
rail
longevity yards. in your work.
Yeah. It wasn't for me. That kind of shit wasn't for me. You pull the chassis down, the crane picks the container up, sets it on your chassis. You get the paperwork, and off you go. No, that just wasn't my cup of tea. So. But I could see where that would be. I've been to the port several times in Jacksonville, Florida, and picked up stuff down at the port. And it's no joke down there. I mean, they got it going on and going in and out. But the long haul truckers are heavily monitored in America.
Oh, yeah.
You got a GPS on the truck, and now they're putting cameras in the truck that's watching the drivers, not only watching the road for them. Oh, yeah. They've got them now that are watching the drivers. And if you take your eyes off the road, or you look down at your phone, or you're doing something you shouldn't, they've got it on live stream. The safety coordinator or safety manager at the terminal will have it on live stream, and they know, and they'll call you. I had one call me one time. Now, we didn't have the eyes in the truck, but he called me one time and he said, "Hey, what are you doing 85 miles an hour, on Interstate 85 coming out of South Carolina going into Georgia?" I said, "Well, hell, I'm going downhill, dog. There's nothing, I've got 45,000 pounds in the box and it's pushing me down this hill. Well, you need to be aboard." And I went, click, and I just hung up on his ass because, you're short drivers and it's hard to recruit them. And I wasn't in the danger zone, and I wasn't tailgating anybody, and there wasn't any loss of control or catastrophic event. But anyway, Slow Joe wants more women and veterans. Slow Joe. More women and veterans to be truck drivers. Well, it's a shitty job, man. Why do you want women and veterans to do a shitty job? Why? I don't understand why you want to get
part of that
in
is going to be
for the diversity or whatever.
Well, yeah, for equity's sake, right? Because if you look at it,
let's be equal,
if you look at it, equity there in terms of the highest risk jobs. And the longest hour jobs, a majority of them, if you looked on a sliding scale there, are done by men. Now, of course, there are caveats there. I mean, like, look at nurses, right? I mean, those hours are ridiculous right now. But overall, if you looked at all of the jobs ever, and you looked at the amount of hours worked versus the amount of risk that happens, you're going to find it's going to skew a certain way. And so, to that end, that's kind of interesting that he posits that. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're just going to simply put humans out of that job, because eventually, when the AI gets good enough, or the self-driving portion of AI gets good enough, they're not going to care. Like, they're going to say, okay, you're going to be more of a engineer or / programmer, more so than you're going to be a truck driver, because the truck's going to do all the work for you. You're just going to need to make sure that all the systems are up to date.
Trucks used to be the backbone of America. Then they started shipping the containers on the ships. Then they started putting the containers on the rails.
Yeah.
Now they're just putting whole trailers, picking the whole trailer up.
Right.
Like we used to pull behind us and setting it on the rail. Mm-hmm. One company I worked for, a refrigeration company, they had to get bigger fuel tanks, because if they put one of their refrigerated trailers on a rail car and it's going to go for 3 days, they had to keep the refrigerator running for those whole 3 days. So they had to go from a 50-gallon tank to a 100-gallon tank. And then you're going to tell me that there's no drivers. You're going to look at me and say there's no drivers losing miles or losing money, and you just put that trailer load of freight on the rail car, on the railroad, and you're going to tell me that if a driver's not pulling it, somebody's losing money. And it's all about the company. The companies treat them like shit, man. Now, I was very fortunate, was with a couple of companies that are very, 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 they treated everybody very fair. They were fair, and they were upfront and stuff. I worked for Fresh Point, which is a division of Cisco Foods.
Yeah.
And we hauled all their produce. And then I worked for Dowdy Transport, a small operation in Gallatin, Tennessee. All those guys were very fair, and I was fair with them. And it used to be funny because I got drug tested on a regular basis. You know why? Because I didn't use drugs. They knew I was an easy. That you got to have so many drug tests a year from your drivers.
Yeah.
Well, they knew I didn't use any drugs, so they could test me anytime they wanted to. But some of the guys, they probably didn't test them because they might have been questionable. Let's put it that way. Questionable young men. So, young women.
Well, yeah, questionable people, right? Remember, we have to be all encompassing, like Disney World.
That's right. Yeah, questionable birth people. Yeah,
questionable beings.
The hell you want to call it.
There you go.
I'm glad you brought up nurses though, because I was watching a news feed the other day. And a guy said that sitting is the new smoking. So for truck drivers, and I drove a truck for 16 years. So I sat in a chair every day for 12 hours for 16 years. So I'm telling you right now, get up off your fat ass and get out and walk around or something, because my tendons are so bad in my accelerator leg that now I can hardly walk. Now, my ankle is all from pushing the gas and all this kind of stuff. The last 3.5 years, I drove an automatic. And you call me a sissy. I don't give a damn what you call me, because it was a really nice truck. Really nice.
Yeah, comment down below if Tom is a sissy for driving an automatic 18.
Yeah, you can kiss my sissy ass. Yeah, driving that truck. It was a 2020 that I got in 2019. And nice. Oh man, it was sweet. It was sweet. And I wasn't mad at him, man. It was a really nice truck. Dowdy Transport gave me that truck to drive. But now the doctor's saying, well, your tendons need to be stretched. So now I end up going to the doctor like 3 times a week and having them get my legs and the knees and all this kind of stuff. But I can't walk for very long. And that's what they said. They said sitting. And then I think about all the people working from home and everybody that's sitting at home and sitting in front of the computer and how much they love it and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, it's get out of that truck, get a dog, get a cat, get a girl, chase your boyfriend around the truck. I don't care, man. Just get out of the truck when you stop and stretch your legs or do something, because it's gonna catch up with you in the end. When you stop driving, it's going to catch up with you. Okay, that's my soapbox.
I was going to say, would your advice to people be active and stay healthy? Is that really kind of like the slogan there?
Yes. Yeah. So you do what you got to do, man, to stay healthy and stuff for real, because it's going to catch up with you. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Well, and we'll segue. Still talking about AI and stuff. I saw something online as well where AI, of course, artificial intelligence, for those who don't know, of course, is the kind of the programming / algorithms that you hear that pull a lot of data and kind of have predictability work happenstance and whatnot. So there was a small article online that said scientists are worried that AI used in x-rays could be racist. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, that's another thing that's going to happen. And something that that's kind of interesting, and one of the reasons why this popped up was because in a certain race of folks, it like the predictability or the diagnosis actually wasn't pulling information, which was kind of interesting. Kind of like, hey, not to say that the AI is purposefully going out of its way to not do something, but the data sets in which you kind of input into the system for it to get its algorithms, it worked in such a way where it kind of followed people's biases, right? Because that's kind of the data sets it's being pulled from. And the AI was coming out, however accurate it could be, it's something that was a little bit troubling to scientists. And they think that it could potentially, I mean, of course, anything that can be used kind of like as a weapon or as a tool for nefarious reasons could be bad. But what is it? Research scientist and physician Leo Anthony Selly from MIT said, "We need to take pause. We cannot rush bringing the algorithms to hospitals and clinics until we're sure they're not making racist or sexist decisions." So it's something that I thought was pretty peculiar. Where, like, I've heard before that people who do MRIs or do scans and do things of that nature, machines are going to be able to find an ailment a lot faster with a lot more accuracy than we'll ever be able to fathom. I mean, we're not computers, right? Like, we have the kind of the meat machine going on as our brain, but it's nowhere near the computing capabilities of a computer or this artificial intelligence. But it was kind of wild to see folks at MIT say, well, hold up. It can strictly predict what race you are, what sex you are, and stuff like that. So it's something where, and it would do it to like a 90% accuracy rate. I mean, it was something where it could tell exactly kind of what race or sex of individual it was just by like looking at their bones alone, which was something that, I mean, anthropologists and folks who've been digging up, fossils and civilizations have been able to do for quite some time. But it is kind of cool to see it popping up there. And one of the things that's kind of sitting next to that and why it would possibly be bad, this is what somebody posted up on Reddit as a good example of this Amazon-based resume assessor, which was found to be disproportionately rejecting female applicants with excellent grades and high levels of experience, even though the gender of the applicant was not known by the AI. What was happening was the real-world data set had biases against women, not surprising in tech, and the AI was trying to match the real world data set. It didn't believe the applicants. It didn't have the applicant's sex because, but sex was the hidden variable, which meant that certain good candidates in the historic data set were being rejected. So the AI learned to infer this hidden variable from secondary signifiers: what school the person went to, what clubs they belong to, if you're in a women's chess club, etc. The women detector, the AI became something that would point out females in this instance, and it was in fact more efficiently biased than its human counterparts. It's important because if the AI can detect race, then it's going to be able to correlate any race-based biases that already exist in medical decisions into inferences, even if you don't know how it's doing it. So something that kind of can lead to some pretty interesting consequences when it comes to AI and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just a neat little topic that popped up over last week. So.
Well, they need to read the application in their hand, or the resume, or whatever.
Well,
I don't know anything about algorithms and all that kind of stuff. All I know is if I'm talking about red dog collars, then the next thing I know, the shit will pop up on my tablet or my phone, an ad for red dog collars for sale. So I quit worrying about all that stuff, man. I don't take my phone with me. We've talked about this, 100 times, and I don't take it with me when I leave. I leave it here, and so it thinks I'm here, and my VPN thinks I'm in Atlanta. So, the algorithms and all that stuff, I don't know all about that stuff, but I just don't take it.
Yeah, so, but folks around you have phones, and like we talked about with Facebook, having a phantom account, like it's hearing you all the time, regardless. So it's not that.
Oh,
you're
I'm
like,
sure.
you know,
I'm sure it is.
Being hidden.
I'm sure it is because everybody down here's got a phone. Everybody's got a phone,
right? Which
down
is
here.
kind of.
I mean, you see,
it's kind of interesting.
They'll come out of a fucking shack with no roof on it, but they got that phone, buddy. They,
Yeah.
You know, they are living in a thatched hut, but they've got that phone, man. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Why is that incredible to you?
It just is. You know, everybody's got to have one attached to their hand. It's just pretty amazing to me. But I only take it with me when I travel by myself. If I'm traveling by myself, like going to the dentist or something, or go running into the grocery store and coming back, just in case something happens. Because, you know, I left my keys in my bike one day when I went into the grocery store. And when I came back out, the keys weren't in the bike, and I couldn't find them anywhere. Yeah, and I didn't have a phone to call anybody. Just help me.
So wait,
the security
your keys
guard
weren't there.
The security guard came walking up, dangling the keys like this. Like, are you looking for these? And I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm not worthy, you know. And he walked by and saw him in the bike and took him out. So nobody got it and drove off. So there you go.
Well, that was very kind of them to do.
Yes, it was. So they let the old man look for him for a few minutes and laughed.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, if that's the only price you had to pay for leaving your keys in your bike, and as opposed to replacing the entire thing, I think you got off okay.
I did. Speaking of getting, go ahead with your next deal there.
Go right ahead. You were segueing just fine.
You were talking about getting off, and it's like AOC's engagement, and out here I've got written. I've got written. Who cares? I mean, I don't.
Supposedly, a lot of people online care.
That's the thing that people have to figure out. You got to figure this shit out, man. How did AOC go from a bartender into Congress at 26 or 27 years old? What kind of machine did they put together to get her into Congress to stir the shit pot every day? She stirs it every day. The same thing, the same people that did Obama. Obama was a community organizer, then moved to a junior senator, and then skipped to the president of the United States. What kind of machine or what kind of group of people can pull that kind of stuff off, man?
It's the same kind of people who can.
They're not thinking about it. They don't think about that shit. It's right in their face, man.
Well, it's the same kind of people who can take a real estate mogul who was on television several times in WWE and making the president. So.
Well, you know what? You're finding out. You're finding out with these primary elections. He ain't the guy to be tied to, because the guy that he endorsed in Georgia lost. Just saying. I wouldn't want to be tied to Trump, man. I wouldn't want to be tied to him. Win on your own. You don't need him. You don't need. We had him. We got him. He did great. He was a complete distraction the whole time because he's an egotistical son of a bitch, and we don't need him again. And you don't need to be tied to him. And these people are finding out that he ain't got all the magic and all that kind of stuff that everybody thinks he does. Because in Georgia, Mike Pence endorsed one Republican candidate, and Trump endorsed the other Republican candidate, and the one that Pence endorsed won to run in the runoff in the national election, which is, by the way, 167 days away.
Well,
you got 167 days till you can vote them the hell out. Vote them out. All of them out.
Well,
out.
Let's not assume that correlation equals causation, right? I mean, just because Pence endorsed this person and Senor Orange endorsed another was the reason for their shortcings or their winnings.
I'm not
whatever.
saying that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I was just explaining who endorsed who. Get these people that are riding the Trump train, man. You need to get off the damn Trump train. And AOC is not her name. Her name is Sandy Cortez. So they need to get the Alexandria Ocasio bullshit. She made that shit up. So Sandy is her name. Sandy Cortez is her name, and she's engaged to a guy that she went to college with. And the funny part about this, reading into the article and going deeper into it, they use this engagement as a fundraiser. They announced the engagement and sent it out in a fundraising email for her upcoming election. That's any way to make money, man. You always say it's all about staying elected and making money, man. But hey, I'm getting married, so why don't y'all have a fundraiser for me and try to throw some money my way, because I'm getting married. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares that you're getting married. Give me a break.
Well, I think
the guy, your parents do, and the guy that loves you cares. I'm sorry.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
okay, so
let me. You sent me the topic, man. I'm just telling you what the research.
I love it, but we talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't her name, but
Sandy, call her Sandy Cortez.
Okay, well, I don't see you looking at celebrities and saying, Demi Moore isn't her real name. It's Demi Jean Gines or whatever, or Bruno Mars being Peter Jean Hernandez. Yeah, you can have a pseudonym, man. It's America. You can do whatever you want.
Producer Jay?
Yeah.
Producer Jay?
Or Jamie Foxx, who's Eric Marion Bishop. I mean, come on. The whole thing is to make it seem intriguing, right? Or Bradley Pitt.
Yeah.
Because hell, Bradley. Yeah. Could you imagine Bradley Pitt being named Bradley? But yeah, Brad Pitt's name is William Bradley Pitt. His name's William. His name ain't Brad.
They call me Memphis. That's right.
Well, I mean that's very fair. Yeah, I thought you were going to go a different
route
with doing a Kiss reference where they call you Dr. Love, but that'll go against the YouTube algorithm.
No, I wasn't going to do that. Whatever the algorithm is, I was keeping everything on the up and up.
Yeah, but
Memphis and Ecuador.
Yeah, Memphis and Ecuador. That's it. That's a sitcom just waiting to happen, or a web series. But yeah, to appease the proverbial algorithm and our YouTube overlords, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe below there. Smash the like, tickle the bell, do all the things. Comment down below. Petition to have us removed. Do whatever you want to do. It's all good.
But it's probably been done.
I have no doubt in my mind, man. No doubt whatsoever. But
get these two freaking clowns off of here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, by saying clowns, that would imply that we're sometimes funny. But there's yet to be unfalsifiable evidence. So.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, man.
Yeah,
somebody help me.
Indeed. Yeah. So something that we've gone on and on and on and on and on about is vaccines and whatnot. So we won't touch on it too much. But seeing online a topic about the Air Force not commissioning some new cadets over that sort of thing, I find kind of interesting. If so, for the fact of I know a lot of military folks, and they don't tell you or they don't explain to you half of the stuff that they're sticking you with anyways. And so my thought is you're going to die on that hill of making a point, and then it's going to kind of ruin what you are aiming at. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they're going to give you 20 more shots or vitamins or pills or whatever the heck it is when they do the intake for basic. So why die on that hill? That just doesn't seem very pragmatic to me, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, it was only the Air Force. It was only four cadets that they're not being commissioned for refusing the vaccine. And then one of them changed their mind before graduation. Now what I found was interesting was they're not going to be commissioned as military officers, but they will have a bachelor's degree when they graduate. But the military can come back and ask for reimbursement of their education.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, for what you paid, they can come back and ask for the refund.
That could be up to $200,000 or more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And it's up to like this. Another slow Joe pundit, idiot, Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, is the one that came up with this bullshit. But doing the research, you had 1,000 Army graduates, 1,000 Army cadets that graduated, no problem. They all were vaccinated. All 1,000 of them were vaccinated. Okay. The Navy and the Marines, not so much. Now, they didn't hold anybody back for not being vaccinated, but they went ahead and commissioned them, as military, and graduated from the respective schools, even though they did not get vaccinated. I thought that was pretty interesting because your first day in the service, they give you up to 17 shots.
Oh, yeah. They go nuts, man.
Measles, mumps, rubella, and polio, and all that kind of shit, man. I mean, and across all the services, they had 4,000 discharges that flatly refused to get vaccinated, and they just kicked them out.
Well,
4,000 of all the branches, of the 4 branches of the military, they had 4,000 that just flatly refused to be vaccinated, and they kicked their ass out of school.
Well, and hey, if you don't want to play by their rules, I mean that it is what it is, right? Like, you're willing to get in many cases can sometimes put your life on the line or be put in very dangerous situations, and you're not going to do this. I mean, it's a very interesting deal, but of course we've seen it kind of happen from both ways, right? Where there can be issues, but you also see, hey, it can actually help to a very good degree. So, it's their life, it's their choice. But one of the things that sticks out in my mind is, well, it very much is, their choice, and it's kind of wild. And that kind of leads back into kind of what we talked about a few times is kind of my body, my choice sort of deal, and it looks like something might be overturned here in the very near future, and people are kind of going ham over that. And I mean, something that it was explained to me is if we take away that ability to have that regulated on like a more national level, well, it also could potentially take away like funding for other things, right? Because everything now in government is it's a package deal all the time, right? So you got a package deal that deals with X, Y, and Z, and then that deals with A, B, C, and so if you take away one thing, well, then you're going to have to deconstruct what it was originally in, and then it just makes it a big cluster, and it can become pretty dangerous actually for certain individuals, especially if they don't have access to certain things, and that kind of harkens back to the baby formula thing a little bit too, right? Where I've seen where folks didn't want stuff to go through that was legislation for baby formula, and one of the senators, I believe it was a senator, was talking about they didn't want the folks who had WIC, which of course is the assistance, you're right, for single moms or just for children in general, to have access to that formula moreover than someone who didn't have access to it, like who was trying to, I guess, what you say, just purchase things themselves, I guess is a way to put it. So yeah, the baby formula deal, and it's all a setup, man. It's all a setup, and this monkeypox bullshit they're trying to pull over on people, man. You watch it get worse and worse the closer it gets to election day. You got 167 days, vote their ass out, vote them out. But that's what they're going to try to come up with some kind of new
either new COVID variant or the monkeypox bullshit to try to screw up the elections, and everybody will try to vote, by mail or and then they'll start the ballot harvesting again. They just elected a president in Finland, and they had 33 million people voted, and they had the election and recognized who the winner was the next day. Within 24 hours, they recognized the winner. And in Pennsylvania, it's a week later, and only 3 million people voted, and you still ain't posted a fucking winner down there. What are y'all doing? What's the problem? A week later.
I guess the problem is they don't have Tom Durden being their electoral head honcho, I suppose.
It's all a scam, man. It's all a scam, and I know that Oz and whatever his name was, Mickers or Mickerson or whatever his name was, I don't remember what his name was, but they're running neck and neck. There was only like 962 votes. They said at the end of the day that there was only 962 votes separating them. So it wasn't enough to call it. So now they're starting a whole recount all over again. Oh, man, I can't wait to see how that stuff comes out. And one of them ends up lopsidedly winning by 10 or 12,000 votes. Yeah, okay, sure. Sure.
You are positing that it's a rigged system and it's all kind of BS.
Yes.
Then why are you telling people to go vote?
I want them to go in person and vote. Go in person and vote.
Gotcha.
Don't do early voting or mail in or absentee or any of that shit. Show up, do your duty, and vote them out. Vote them out. Keep voter integrity in place by going in person and vote these people out, man. Don't give them the opportunity to steal the election or to do some underhanded stuff, man. Don't give them the opportunity to do that. It's crazy.
Well, it would be definitely difficult to have everybody vote at the same time, but we will do our best. Well,
they're open from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. So get your ass off, get off your ass and go vote. Come on, man. Yeah.
Are you going to be voting?
Yes. I'll have to absentee since I'm in another country, but wait, no, don't even try that shit, man. Don't even try it. The military that's out of the country, I can see that, but that's not going to be that significant to impact the national election. So don't even try it. Okay, go ahead. Come on. Come on. What you got?
What you got? Come on, very interesting. Or kind of a weird thought is, does, like, when they do military absentee ballots and stuff like that, is it happening where they're stationed out of? Like, what's their home base? Or does it happen out of their actual address? Tell us down below, you wonderful folks who we thank you for your service in the armed forces.
Yes.
Do you, when you do vote and you are out overseas or in another country across distant lands, does it count towards the state you're in? Or if we're going to vote in, like, let's say the primaries, not the presidential election, but in something where you would vote on like a governor or a senator and stuff like that, where you could change things in what you would consider your home state, what is that considered? Is that where you went in? Like, where's your permanent address outside of the military? How does that work? That'd be kind of some cool info to have. So.
Yes, it would. I don't know how that works. Yeah,
that'd be
167 days. 167 days till the national election. You can change senators, change the House of Representatives, and have laws be changed. I look for them to start trying to impeach Joe Biden the day that they swear these people in.
You mean if it has what's it called, a red wave or whatever it is?
Oh man, it's going to be a slaughterhouse, man. It's going to be it should be a slaughter, because people need to. Are you ready for $6 a gallon gas in Tennessee?
Most certainly not.
Well, okay. Well, Slow Joe did that to you. Okay, because they're bracing for $10 a gallon gas in Washington D.C. and you're already paying $5 a gallon for diesel, which is out of control. And then they wonder about the supply chain crisis. Well, hell, man, look at the price of diesel fuel that the trucks have to buy. That's part of your trucker shortage too. Is the owner operators who can't make any money because of the diesel prices? Well, they just hang up the keys, man. Sell their rig and hang up the keys.
Well, one thing to look at there as well is it creates such a big push for green technology, right? So looking at Teslas, Nissan Leafs, the Chevy Volts, all of that stuff, where you have an electric car where gas just stops becoming a thing. Like, you just stop caring about it altogether.
Okay. Well, it's a big thing right now, and they're pushing this other stuff on you. Yes.
Well,
the Volt, the Volt's been around for a long time. The Chevy Volt.
Yeah, the Volt, the Leaf. There's been a ton of that. Yeah.
So they don't need to try to shove that down They don't need to try to shove it down your throat right now and go, well, you need to plug in. Why don't you plug it in your ass with it? I mean, just that. Oh God!
I was gonna say, don't tease us with a good time. Okay, shit.
I mean, golly, man. Oh man. Yeah, and I'm telling you, that monkeypox virus, you need to leave those gay men alone. That they're saying that's how it's like AIDS. It's
no idea what monkeypox is.
Yeah, you look into that. That's something that they're developing in the Wuhan lab where they did COVID, and they're going to start trying to spread that monkeypox virus out too. It's a big scam too. But hopefully Americans will go, screw you, and just keep on living life like they need to, because they're going to come up with some more bullshit. Just watch. I'm telling you, man. Write it down right now. It's 7:26 Central Time, May 25th. The monkeypox will be here right before the elections in November.
Well, that certainly date the episode, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, one thing to look at, I'm not sure if you kept up with Tesla and Elon and all that, but the stocks for Tesla is just plummeting, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can handle this, because maybe it means the damn car won't cost $100,000 just to have a 400-mile battery life, right?
Maybe so.
I'm okay with them tanking Tesla, if just for the fact that it'll drive the damn prices down, because I don't think there's any reason $100,000 or I don't want to even say luxury car, because hell, the base model is like $70,000, and that to me is just bananas. Now, however, if you look at it and what they say to like the actual cost to plug in versus what gas is, I think it costs like $7 in electricity technically to fill up, which, okay, well, if gas is $6 a pop, and you can go, like my car right now can roughly get 450 gallon or 50 miles per 19-gallon tank. Well, right now, hell, that's like $70 or something like that. So I'm thinking, okay, well, look at the money you'll save in gas. If gas is going to remain $3, $4, $5, well, yeah, I mean, you're going to save money in the long run. Oh, yeah.
It's going up.
That, and also
some more.
The technology that you have in it is bananas. I mean, you have like an 18-inch freaking iPad screen in there, and it can self-drive potentially, and you just kind of let it chill. You're like, all right, go, and it just it Batmobiles. It's insane.
Well, gas is going to keep going up. Inflation keep going up. So remember that 167 days.
Yeah.
Joe and his cohorts did this to you, man. Trump didn't do this to you, and I'm not a fan. If you hadn't figured that out, he didn't do it to you. But Joe has come in and just divided America and stuff. And you watch, you got the anniversary of the death of George Floyd coming up shortly, so that'll give him another reason to stir stuff up and act stupid and stuff. Of course, you got Memorial Day coming up too this weekend, right? The last weekend in May, Memorial Day.
Yep.
Yeah. We just had the anniversary, the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Pichincha, and it's when Ecuador was freeing itself from Spain.
Oh wow! Okay.
And some of the lines were drawn for countries and stuff with Chile and Colombia and Peru and things like that. Yeah. So this was a holiday weekend that just went by, and they blow it out down here when they have a holiday weekend. And this is supposed to be the last big holiday weekend of the calendar year. They do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They do 4-day holidays. They blow it out, man. And it was insane downtown.
Yeah, that's something that I think is pretty cool. Is in a lot of other countries that I've seen or hear about, they have holidays that last, up to 2 weeks, right? You have Chinese New Year, right? For sure. You have Chinese New Year. You have these battles. You have what's it called? Like the Day of the Dead sort of scenario where it actually goes over several days and stuff like that. And that's pretty cool. Like it's very well. I would say it's unique, but the unique thing is America doesn't do it. We say you get 1 day off and fuck you. Okay, cool, bye.
It's a huge celebration down here, though. It's a huge celebration, and these people are real down to earth, and they celebrate. They go to the beach and they cook out and they play and they have a good time. And if you've never heard drunk Spanish karaoke till 5:00 in the morning, you haven't lived.
I'm going to forcefully disagree.
One of the neighbors was they had a party at their house over the weekend where they were celebrating the holiday, and they were singing. They were drunk on their ass, man. They were singing karaoke. Till 5:00 in the morning. And I told Pat, I said, I got to have some revenge on these people, man. I don't know what I got to do. There's got to be some payback somewhere. Yeah, golly, man, it was crazy.
Well, I was going to say, what's the most American thing you can do to a person?
What do you mean?
Well, if you wanted to do something in revenge, they were singing karaoke in Spanish, presumably, until 5 a.m. So what's the American thing to do?
Only thing I know to do is to put my some 5-finger death punch or some AC/DC on my Bose speaker at like 4 a.m. on Tuesday morning, where they partied all weekend and they got to get up and go to work Tuesday, and I start jamming at 4 a.m. But I'm visiting and I'm relaxing, so I just kind of took a nap that afternoon. Well, I actually just passed out later on that afternoon because I didn't sleep all night. So
there you go.
Pretty crazy, yeah.
As you say, you need to get some good earplugs there, but
yeah, that's right. You're exactly right. I do need to get some good earplugs. So, I guess we need to mention the shooting in Texas at the elementary school.
That was a really shitty deal. Like somebody to be I don't know. It seems somebody wants to just create evil in the world, right? It's just a horrible, horrible thing.
But and I don't know how to say this without somebody going, "Oh, you're an asshole," which I am. You won't have to relive that when he goes to trial. You won't have to relive that when he's sentenced. You won't have to wonder why. They killed that guy. They shot him, killed him at the scene. Now, that doesn't bring back anything that he did or make anything right, but they won't have to go through like the Buffalo shooter at the grocery store. Okay, he's sitting in jail. Okay, well, then when he goes to trial in 6 months or 9 months or a year, it's going to stir all those feelings back up again. And then when they sentence him, 2 months later or 3 months later, they're going to have to stir all those feelings up again. You won't have that with this shooting in Texas because that dude's dead. And it doesn't bring back anybody, doesn't bring any of the children back. And I feel for these people. Godspeed, God prayers with them, man. I couldn't imagine anything happening to my child. So, but they won't have to keep, it won't be put in their face again. Is what I'm trying to say. Like it will at Buffalo, where they're going to keep. They did this. They did this. They did. I don't. But that's a bad deal. That's a real bad deal. And you and I have attended active shooter classes together.
Yeah.
It shows how to prevent that and stuff. And maybe that needs to be a curriculum or something that people need to start. You
look at the state of things. Like, one thing that we wouldn't, I'm assuming, have ever imagined in your lifetime or mine is to actively suggest that a possible curriculum in a school or just in general is an active shooter. Like, it's just something where it'll tear those people up forever, and the community, it'll be something that just eats people up, and it's a bad
It was
deal.
2 days before their summer break. 2 days before their summer break. How about that? Yeah. That's just insane, man. That's insane. There's no words. There's no words. There's no explanation. There were failures on all levels, and I don't know, man. It's just what is the world coming to? I mean, and they wonder why more people. I read a news feed the other day where a guy went in to rob a carry permit class.
No, that sounds like a pretty stupid fucking decision.
Everybody there shot him. Everybody got his shot in. I don't know if they shot him while he was laying down on the ground or not, but at least said everybody there shot him at least once.
Well, not to be
now, how ignorant is that?
Not to be crass, but did they all pass their class if they hit him?
I didn't read that part. All I saw was man goes in to rob carry permit class, gets shot by everyone. I was like, yay! Finally, people are retaliating, man, and shooting people. This cat in Texas was shot by a Border Patrol agent. The bad guys that are mean to the illegal immigrants and stuff. Yeah, whatever, man.
I saw
he ran to the gunfire.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and if you have folks who are trained up like that, they oftentimes will. They're trained for that scenario, and they know how to react, and they've had the training, and they've been through the classes, and they've done the exercises, right? Because when your adrenaline starts pumping and you start to tunnel vision and you don't really know what's going on, it's a real bad deal there, but.
It is a bad deal. It's a real bad deal, and I feel bad for those people. Prayers for those people and their families and their losses. Man, you just can't explain it. You can't explain it. There's no words. No words for that.
Yeah, it's shitty, and
it's the world we live in. That's the sad part about it. It's the world we live in today.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, you think about it like. Just can't do anything about it. I mean, like me and you in this instance. Yeah.
I didn't mean to end on such a somber note, but I thought we needed to mention that because that's
yeah. No, you're right. Really, I mean, it's
sad.
Important.
Sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's funny because the teachers aren't supposed to carry firearms on school grounds, and like I told you, when Pat worked at the school, there were 4 ladies in the cafeteria that carried firearms on their person all the time. They all went to class together, they all passed their class together, and they all carried a firearm every day on their person, working at a public school elementary school in Sumner County. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I did. Okay. And they were prepared.
Yeah.
They were prepared. They went to active shooter classes. After they got their permits, they went to tactical training and active shooter classes, and those ladies were, yeah. They said, we ain't going behind a wooden door and locking the door and being like fish in a barrel. No, no. We're shooting back. So, and I believe it. I believe every one of those ladies. I met them all. Ooh. So you got to do what you got to do. If you can't do anything else, they told us one of the things to do is get some wasp spray and put it on your desk. And if anybody says anything, say, well, there was some wasp liner and I'm allergic to them, because that shoots like 12 feet. It'll shoot a stream like 12 feet. And if you've got the wherewithal to do it, just pick it up and shoot it on somebody, on your, attacker or whoever's coming, and you don't have to get close to them. You can do it. It's 12, 14 feet of spray. That's one way of doing it. If you can't carry a gun or don't want to carry a gun, I'd be carrying a gun, man. Some kind of gun every day, everywhere I went. So to protect the children, it's not so much for your protection as it is to protect the kids. So I don't know. Bad deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact
Really
that has to, even be brought up is sad.
Yeah. I'd like to be talking about something else.
Well, we'll end it on that note. We appreciate everyone watching, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all those families. And we'll catch you all in the next episode.
See you.